order their newest books on Amazon.com. The online retailer is also delaying shipment of the Hachette books it is selling. In a statement, Amazon went so far as to suggest customers could buy the books from one of its competitors. Writer David Sedaris says there are alternatives.
There are things called stores.
Sedaris' books are published by Hachette Ethan. His latest is called Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls.
If you don't want to go to the store, if you don't want to use some other website to buy the book, then don't buy the book. Don't do it. Get milk you can get on Amazon, like a toaster or thermal flash. I think they sell those. Go ahead, don't get my book. Get a flashlight. Right.
David Sedaris says he doesn't shop online anyway. Mandalay Tabarco, NPR News.
Now, in late January, a mentally ill man was shot and killed by two police officers in Lodi, California. That's a town south of Sacramento. At first, it seemed like it was just one more tragic event involving a confrontation between police and a person suffering mental illness. But the facts in this case are in dispute. The victim was an Army veteran, also an American of Sikh ancestry. His death has stirred up that Sikh community and the city of Lodi as well. And here's Victor Gonzalez reports. On a recent Saturday evening, more than 100 people with Secretary Erickson seconded that man. This is NPR News.
Good morning, it's 6:33. I'm Christina Johnson with Michigan Radio News. Governor Rick Snyder says he's hopeful that a bipartisan deal to raise the minimum wage will pave the way for the legislature to boost road spending by at least $1.2 billion. The governor says drivers expressing their frustration with poor roads is a great catalyst for legislators to consider completing transportation plans. However, Snyder says his most immediate priority in the coming weeks is for lawmakers to commit $195 million in state money to help resolve Detroit's bankruptcy case. The city of Detroit says about $2,000 sent to retirees and employees on the bankruptcy case are inaccurate and will be mailed again. The disclosure came yesterday during the court hearing. Federal bankruptcy judge Stephen Rhodes calls it very, very unfortunate and says he wants to know by Friday the name of the person who's responsible. The ballots contained wrong information about Detroit's plan to recover millions paid into annuity accounts since 2003. Drilling for oil in Scioto Township would put people's health, safety, and quality of life at risk. That's what the Township's Board of Trustees ruled in a new resolution this week. The board wants to block a Northern Michigan drilling company from leasing mineral rights in the Washtenaw County town. The company promises it won't use hydraulic fracturing or fracking. These Spalding talked with the Scioto Township supervisor, but even though they've passed this resolution, they have no power to stop someone from leasing out their land.
In general, my answer would be no. It's fair to say this seemed as a surprise to all of us.
Judge says they only recently learned Michigan law says townships can't regulate oil or gas wells. He says they will be arguing their case to the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, which does oversee this. Support for NPR comes from the Presley Foundation, expanding opportunities in America's cities at Presley.org. More than 80% of people diagnosed with full-spectrum autism are under 21. The New Job Training Program in Michigan is giving young autistic people the skills to get a job by training them in the movie business. Variety with Kate Wells reports from the South.
The costume designer made a small breakdown after lunch. She's filming as an extra, she has to go on camera as a tuxedo later, serving red wine, and we're in the middle of shooting one of the movie's biggest scenes. An 18-year-old Claire Bateman spills Claire drinks all over the floor. In tears, she runs off set into the bathroom, and Mom and follow her in. Hello? Are you okay? So Michigan wants our artistic community to live as independently as possible. Then we're going to need more programs like this one. I'm Kate Wells, Michigan Radio News.
Support for arts and cultural reporting on Michigan Radio comes in part from a grant from the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts. The latest in business news coming up in 10 minutes on the Marketplace Morning Report. You're listening to Michigan Radio. We have patchy fog this morning in West End, mid-Michigan. Otherwise, mostly sunny. Highs in the 70s. It's 6 o'clock.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. Good morning. I'm David Green in Washington.
And I'm Steve Inskeep in New York. Let's hear more of our talk with President Obama at West Point. We questioned the president on his foreign policy. He had just finished a speech to graduating army.
In the past, we used to have husbands, they used to marry wives with lower earnings than themselves or no earnings at all. And now husbands with high earnings tend to also have wives with high earnings. Not everyone believes that same-sex mating has a significant impact on inequality. Seamus Khan is a professor of sociology at Columbia.
It's what we sociologists would call structural factors. So the huge declines in taxation rates, the massive decline in unionization rates. It's really that explains most of the rise in inequality and not who's picking whom as a spouse.
Khan says those things explain inequality far more than who is picking whom as a spouse. I'm Noel King for Marketplace. Call it the Sochi effect. The number of countries bidding to host the 2022 Winter Olympics is on a downhill slide. Part of the reason, the $51 billion price tag for this year's games. Conrad Wilson has more.
The most recent country to drop its bid for the 2022 Winter Olympics? Poland. Over sounding rejected the idea of a referendum. Olympics in Sweden and Germany were all former contenders, so they too have dropped the bid.
Like the two carrier percentage-wise of these, the money just dropped about where the money is now. So the countries tend to lose money with countries.
The University of Chicago's Alan Sanderson says countries lose money because the games are run by monopolies. The International Olympic Committee.
And so many did use the subsidy to the railroad, which largely how much money he really was spending. And that weighed heavily on the IOC.
The IOC didn't respond to an interview request. But what's becoming clear is that the 2022 Winter Olympics haven't sparked a major bidding war. Richard Atherton, an economist at the College of the Holy Cross, says it's happened before.
Just 30 years ago, the Olympics was having a lot of difficulty finding bidders.
Atherton says Los Angeles was the only city to bid on the 1984 Summer Games.
And when you only have one bidder, then the host city can dictate the terms of the games rather than the other way around.
Because the 1984 Games were privately funded with no new fancy buildings. The result? Los Angeles is among the most profitable Olympic Games in history.
It was actually after the huge profits that were made by the 1984 Summer Games is when cities started to come back again and say, hey, if Los Angeles can make a lot of money, then so can we.
But that's clearly not the case. The University of Chicago's Alan Sanderson says look no further than the $51 billion spent on the Sochi Olympics.
Which is off the scale amount of money. And even if Putin had not invaded Crimea, there was no way that Sochi covers that.
Speaking of Ukraine, it, along with Norway, Kazakhstan, and China, all say they're still interested in hosting the 2022 Winter Olympics. I'm Conrad Wilson for Marketplace.
That's roughly the same amount it charges many European climbers, but it's far less, almost half. But that competition...
Bye.